This is a brilliant move. It's one that they basically were gifted by Donald Trump. And they are, for the first time, perhaps in a long time, doing their jobs and actually doing the right thing and recognizing how popular these policies are. Now, the trick is, of course, how do we get them to do this shit for everything else? How do we get them to message clearly? Because $2,000 in your pocket is a pretty goddamn easy thing to understand, okay? It's a pretty fucking easy thing to understand, especially at a time when, like trillions are being pumped into corporations. So like you don't have to be a big city lawyer to recognize that the government is willing and able to spend money. Why are they not spending on us? Why are they spending it on others? So that is, this is a good time to advocate for the 2K in direct payments. And it's closer in the grasp of the Democratic Party than ever before. This would be a gigantic dub. Okay? This would be a massive fucking W regardless. And I'm not even talking about like, oh, inflation if everybody gets 2K, or why are the rich people getting 2K, which they're not, by the way. So don't ever fucking listen to anyone who tells you that. If they're telling you like, oh, well, the rich people shouldn't get $2,000, like they're not. This is not universal basic income. This is still means tested. Or people that tell you about the deficit, like ask them why they didn't feel this way about tax cuts. But most importantly, for me, I believe that while the $2,000 direct payments can be life-saving for a lot of people that are suffering right now, the actual much, much larger long-term impact of this is that it will give a fucking fat dub to the Democratic Party, and it will show the rest of the country that these are progressive policies that Democrats are on board with, and that they can, if they advocate for certain things and agitate for these sorts of policies, they can win. And they might even be rewarded electorally down the line. And the reason why this is even a conversation right now, the reason why the second stimulus bill even was brought up with the $600 fucking crumbs was because of Georgia. Because Georgia is now within a margin of error, and the Democrats were, especially John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock, were saying Republicans in the Senate are standing between you and $1,200. I want to give you $1,200. They don't. And that's precisely why you got to vote for Democrats. When that became the forefront of the conversation, when that became what everyone was messaging around, all of a sudden Mitch McConnell had to bend the knee and say, sure, we'll do the stimulus. These people will literally, in every other circumstance, they will literally fucking allow the Senate to crash and burn. They not Senate, sorry. They will allow the economy to crash and burn. They do not care about the fact that like direct relief is actually good for the economy. They do not care about that. They do not care at all about poor people suffering. They definitely do not care about that. Like, that is probably the least of their concerns. The only thing that these people care about is power. And losing the Senate majority means Mitch McConnell loses his power. Okay, a significant part of his power. Stopping bills from even entering the fucking floor. This is a huge deal. And that's precisely why his success and his power is directly tied to the Georgia race. And the Georgia race is centering around the 2K in direct payments. Currently, the conversation is. I hope that this is, at the very least, somewhat... I hope that this is describing to you the situation at hand. So, the Georgia GOP senators, of course, have now announced their support for the $2,000 COVID checks, by the way. Of course they did. Of course they did. Why did they do it? Because it's a fucking popular policy. Because it's not only helpful to the people, but it's also fucking popular. Why is it popular? Because Democrats actually fucking talked about it. Because Democrats actually, for the first time in their goddamn fucking lives in the past 4 years, literally said this race is about a tangible policy position. And this is precisely why you need to vote for us. Because the Republicans are standing in opposition with the immediate outcome of this tangible policy position. They never fucking do this shit otherwise. I'm so glad that they're doing it, and it's fucking working. Who would have thought that this would be successful? Who? Oh my God. Wow, a fucking gigantic shocker, dude. I am so incredibly shocked to find out that better things are possible and that the American people are interested in having their government work for them for once. Wow. And when you center a campaign around what you will give to people, they have a reason to champion your cause. They have a reason to vote for you. Wow. Wow. What a shocking situation this is. I mean, wow. How do you explain why Biden hasn't mentioned the 2K once? You're giving Dems too much credit. I don't even understand why Biden is not fucking constantly in Georgia. The fuck are you doing, bitch? What are you doing, you old bitch? You're not fucking running the government yet. Get your fucking crusty Irish Catholic ass down to fucking Georgia and do some of those goddamn car rallies right now, you crusty geriatric fuck. Probably better that he doesn't, though, because he's not exactly the kinetic presence that we need down there on the ground. But goddamn, you think if... I mean, Trump is doing more than Joseph Robinette Biden for the Democratic Party in Georgia. Just think about that. Anyway. I mean, he has his vaccine already, right? So should we say for him to go? No, that's a double vaccine. He needs to get vaccinated again like in a week or so, I think. It's not enough that he's doing speeches. He should be out there fucking agitating. I know New Jersey found a way to pay out federal unemployment benefits for the last week of December, even though Trump delayed the signing of the relief bill. I know. I talked about it yesterday, brother man, as it happened. Literally as it happened, I talked about it. Anyway. Help a foreigner living in America out. Why isn't Mitch allowing this to pass? Because he's a fucking demon, dude, okay? There is no rhyme or reason. Do you understand? There is no reason other than the fact that it's pure, like, objective cruelty. This is not a subjective measure. It's because Republicans are objectively demons that like to do cruel things. Now, the real reasons are you don't give the poor money. You don't give them anything. It goes against the starving the beast mentality. This goes against the worldview of the Republicans. The only time the government spends money is on corporations and the wealthy, the jobs providers, the wealth creators. Those are the productive places that we actually spend our money on, not the fucking poors. Because if the poors recognize that they can get more from the government, that they should get more from the government, and the government can work for them, then all of a sudden, you allow them to believe. You allow them to believe that a better future is possible. You allow them to believe that a better government is possible. And that will really throw a goddamn wrench in the Republican ideology that has been so successful and so pervasive for the past 20 fucking years. So successful that, like, Democrats have been operating on that same playing field. Third way neoliberal centrism in the Democratic Party is no different than the Republican Party's mentality. Okay? When Dems actually stood for something they won 4 times? Yeah. What the fuck is that clout shark Obabe doing? Why is he not down in Georgia? Why is he not talking about how, I don't like the guy, but this Trump guy, he got one thing right. He might be advocating for $2,000, but specifically because he's a narcissist. But guess what? He's right. You do deserve more. Yeah, what's he doing? They simply want to leverage their corporate overlords. They only want the corp liability shield. No, the corporation liability shield is literally like, I guess we'll just get something out of this. Like, they don't want to fucking... There are multiple reasons why Mitch McConnell doesn't want these sorts of bills to pass through. One of the main reasons, one of the main motivators why Mitch McConnell never wants to fucking ever deal with the Democrats is because they already got all of their fucking agenda. Like, the Republican agenda is thriving, okay? Donald Trump, whether you agree with me or disagree with me, it doesn't fucking matter, was a like was an absolute fucking legend at advocating and championing Republican values and getting the horrible, vulturous, immoral Republican policies through. He was very good. I've said this since day fucking one, that he's a regular Republican in a lot of ways and a very successful one, as a matter of fact. So Mitch McConnell already got everything he wanted. Fucking packed the shit out of those lower courts. Got 3 Supreme Court justices. Oh my lord, dude. Tax cuts. Largest tax cuts since Ronald Reagan. Oof.
Hi.
What else do you want? Deregulation in key industries. Starving the beast from within was alive and well under Donald Trump. Sometimes directly. Donald Trump literally just did not appoint a third of the seats that he appointments that he needed to. The government still ran without it, but he just didn't do it. Didn't have to. Didn't care. Probably because he doesn't give a shit, not because he has some like principled ideological stance on like smaller government. He's just a fucking idiot. He's a narcissistic moron. Doesn't give a shit about anything but himself. But ultimately, Donald Trump got the agenda done. What is this shit? Okay, Donald Trump got the Republican agenda done. Mitch McConnell got the Republican agenda done. So once you do that, and then you also give trillions of dollars to corporations and like hundreds of billions to small businesses, and then you fucking throw some breadcrumbs in the form of $1,200 to the big poor. Okay, the peasants get like a little bit of the crumbs in the beginning of the pandemic that you have lied about, by the way, since day one. Why the fuck would you ever deal with the Democrats again? That's why Mitch McConnell never dealt with them. He never dealt with them, and he even threw Donald Trump under the bus at the end of it. Who knows what the election would have looked like if there was a second stimulus that passed through, and Donald Trump looked like the champion of the American people, literally fucking agitating for the 2K payments. Who knows what that would have looked like? It was so ridiculous at that time that I was like, I don't get it. I don't know what the fuck Mitch McConnell is doing. Okay? So, the reason why Mitch McConnell does not deal with the Democrats on something like this is because he doesn't have to. And when he does, that opens up an opportunity for more dealings with the Democrats. He just literally doesn't have to. Being obstructionist is a benefit when you're a Republican, especially if you've already passed your entire agenda, like nearly in its entirety. Mitch just pumped and dumped Trump after they got what they wanted. Yeah, exactly. I asked you, Dan, but I still think Mitch pushing for confirming ACB instead of giving Trump the stimulus cost him the election. I mean, Mitch was never going to give him a stimmy anyway. That would have been a big dub for the Democrats as well. Ossoff is up 2 and Warnock is up 4 in the Trafalgar poll. What the fuck? Okay, listen. Part of the reason why people are... look, I don't trust polls. But part of the reason why things are looking better for the Georgian Democrats here is because, well, 2 things. Unlike the actual election that we just went through, where Republicans actually won out in early votes, just for the record, I don't know if you knew this or not. And the absentee mail-in ballots were the reasons why Democrats ended up winning Georgia. Right now, Republicans are just not voting. They're literally not voting. And especially in areas like Marjorie Taylor Greene's district, for example, they are just not voting at all. Republicans are literally not voting. They're not voting early. They're not sending in mail-in ballots. They are just not voting. Now, I'm not saying that they're not because they legitimately believe that this election is a fraud or whatever, or for one reason or the other, but they are, or maybe they're waiting for January 5 or January 6, whatever. But they are literally not fucking voting. Yeah, Trafalgar sucks, but Trafalgar is like a super far-right pollster. And if the Trafalgar super far-right pollster is showing Democrats winning, that's actually a cause for concern for the Republicans. Bernie is, as you recall, one of the fighters that advocated till the end and even threatened not to pass CARES Act originally if the $600 unemployment insurance did not remain intact in the CARES Act. That was seen as controversial by some progressives who thought that the CARES Act was a massive wealth transfer